Trump faces rare rift with Florida Republicans over offshore drilling plan. By Rachel Frazen. Florida Republicans are fuming as the Trump administration proposes to open up new drilling in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. The new maps released today by its Secretary Burgum and at Interior outlining potential new offshore oil drilling sites in the Gulf of America are highly concerning, and we will be engaging directly with the department on this issue, wrote Senator Ashley Moody, Republican from Florida, in a post on the social platform 10. Preserving our state's natural beauty is deeply important to the millions who call the Sunshine State home, our visitors, and those whose livelihoods depend on tourism, Moody wrote. The office of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican, also criticized the plan, noting that in 2020, President Trump blocked drilling off the state's coasts. Our administration supports the 2020 presidential memorandum and urges the Department of Interior to reconsider and to conform to the 2020 Trump administration policy, Molly Best, a spokesperson for DeSantis, said in a statement to The Hill. It is a rare rift between the state's Republicans and Trump, who made the state his primary residence in 2019. While his Mar-a-Lago resort is situated on the state's east coast on the Atlantic Ocean, drilling in the eastern Gulf would be more likely to impact the state's west coast. On Thursday, the Trump administration proposed a massive expansion of U.S. offshore drilling, which would include opening up new drilling in the eastern Gulf, as well as in California. California is reliably blue, but has a few swing districts where the issue could be a big one. Florida, by contrast, has gone from a swing state to reliably red, so the drilling issue is a rare break for some of its members with the president. The move is something of a reversal for Trump, who in his first term as president barred drilling off the coast of Florida until 2032. Senator Rick Scott, Republican from Florida, indicated in a social media post that he preferred the previous policy. Florida's beautiful beaches and coastal waters are so important to our state's economy, environment, and military community, which is why I have fought for years to keep drilling off Florida's coasts and worked closely with President Trump during his first term to extend the moratorium banning oil drilling off Florida's coasts through 2032, Scott wrote. I have been speaking to its Secretary Burgum and made my expectations clear that this moratorium must remain in place, and that in any plan, Florida's coasts must remain off the table for oil drilling to protect Florida's tourism, environment, and military training opportunities, he added. The oil industry has argued that drilling even in controversial places, such as the Eastern Gulf, is necessary for the long run. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management's updated reserve estimate of 7.04 billion barrels of oil equivalent shows the central and western areas will remain prolific for decades. But sustaining the Gulf's long-term competitiveness means evaluating opportunities in the Gulf of America program area B as well. Eric Melito, president of the National Ocean Industries Association, said in a statement to The Hill, referring to all of the drilling areas proposed by the Trump administration. Exploring nearby areas is not only smart policy, it can be a smart investment decision. It keeps the region attractive for capital, extends its productive life, and leverages the strengths that have made the Gulf one of the world's most successful offshore basins, he said. However, Florida is a state whose economy is heavily dependent on beach tourism, and offshore drilling near its coasts is deeply unpopular. In 2018, about 69% of voters approved an offshore drilling ban in the state. The anti-offshore sentiment in the state was amplified by 2010's Deepwater Horizon disaster, which spilled massive amounts of oil into the Gulf, some of which reached Florida's beaches. A 2017 paper estimated that 4.15 million trips to Florida were canceled as a result of the spill. DeSantis was quoted by local media as raising both environmental and military concerns about the plans, given the presence of military bases in Northwest Florida. What the Interior Department is proposing to do is really to go back off that policy, and I think that would weaken protections that we worked very hard to establish offshore, he said. Yes, Part of it is environmental, but part of it is military training. If you go talk to our folks up in the Panhandle who are stationed there, they will say it is really important to be able to have that access, to be able to do key training. Separately, a group of Florida lawmakers wrote to the Interior Department with concerns about an offshore drilling auction they are planning, saying it is situated too far east. We are writing to express concern about a small portion of the blocks available for lease under the Big Beautiful Gulf lease sale. These blocks within the Eastern Gulf Test and Training Range EGTTR impact the critical missions at Eglin Air Force Base, Hurlburt Field, Tyndall Air Force Base, and Naval Air Station Pensacola, said the letter from Republican reps. Jimmy Patronis, Neil Dunn, Scott Franklin, Daniel Webster, Byron Donalds, Mike Haridopoulos, Laurel Lee, and Vern Buchanan. Meanwhile, Democrats in the state also criticized the Trump administration over the drilling plan. President Trump is selling out Floridians to his big oil donors, and we feel betrayed. Drilling off of the coast of Florida is way too risky, and it is a slap in the face after the damage done by the BP Deepwater Horizon blowout, Representative Kathy Castor, Democrat from Florida, told reporters.